What became of the weird kid you went to school with? I had a classmate nicknamed Bucket. He got this name cause he was running around with a bucket on his head a few times. Once, he was getting mugged on the street. Few guys surrounded him with a knife, demanding to hand over his phone. He started laughing, took out his phone and smashed it on the ground. Continued laughing like a maniac. Muggers baffled by what they saw, they just walked away. Edit. I totally missed the point of this thread. I just read weird kid from school and shared this story. He is actually doing pretty good, studying physics at our country's best science university, though he is still really weird. He went to MIT and now works at a tech company. He was always really smart, but so awkward. He once ran out of a classroom and hid behind some bushes because he got an answer wrong in class. In 11th grade. That made my heart hurt. The level of anxiety he must have felt to do that is sad. Anxiety disorders are TTY. He started going to the same gym as me and became a regular. Still weird. Just has big arms now. He was the school's #1 bully. Today he runs a successful beauty shop. Partnered with a guy he used to pick on from those days. That sounds like a sitcom ABC would have picked up. Tom was the high school's #1 bully. And Longines was the effeminate weirdo Tom always picked on. Coming this fall to ABC. Beauty Parlor Redemption. Can't make this up. I was actually friends with him due to his association with some teammates I had. Anyway, in high school he was super awkward. He was the only kid that had a rolling backpack. He hung out with the crowd that would adjust their sleep schedule so that they could talk online to Japanese kids. And he would dress up in formal wear every day for school, like full suit and tie. He is now a successful local politician who is well on his way to becoming a successful state and or national politician. I'm glad for him. Edit. Now did this blow up while I was at work? Anyway, since I'm friends with this guy, and I'm sharing this info without his permission while he is gearing up for a campaign, I'm not going to give away his name. He isn't quite at the point of running for some high office, but he has had some success locally, which is pretty remarkable considering his age and his political leanings in a historically conservative area. I will say that he is 24 years old, is from Southeast Michigan, is part of the Democratic Party, and is not Ted Cruz. So a psychopath? Politician. So yeah, I guess you're right. Some say he still walks the halls super fast carrying all his books instead of using a backpack or locker. Huh. Every school had the sprint carry kid. I was a sprinter. I had a duffel bag though. Damn. That was probably sketchy as fuck. Oh well. Not going to stop me from sprinting between classes at my university. Edit. Stole the word sprinter from OP. I'm taller and have longer strides than most people. And I walk with purpose. Probably still makes people wonder why I'm constantly in a hurry. But I'm hardly running amok in the halls. When I was in college, I got an unexpected call from an FBI agent who wanted to ask me some questions about weird kid. I was like, holy shit. This is it. He actually became a terrorist. FBI agent met me and asked me some basic questions. Turned out, weird kid didn't do anything wrong. He was just applying for a job with the FBI and needed a background check. Didn't think to tell me that he listed me as a reference. Pretty sure he got the job. It's very likely that he didn't list you at all. The FBI was offering my mom a job. They found her in the early 80s. At a friend's house where she was rooming up or something. This is a time when internet, Facebook, etc. wasn't around to help locate people. They still found her. She said it was amazing. They contacted and found several people she never mentioned to them. They were only offering her an accounting job for the FBI. Nothing even like secret agency or anything. He was a super awkward death metal fan who actually printed out a contract with the devil and signed it with his own blood. When he didn't know what to say, he would make pig noises and would sprint out of the room. From what I can tell by looking at his Facebook page, he is now a happy and well-adjusted woman who likes sundresses. Turned out that he had been prescribed the wrong medication the entire duration of school, and last I saw he seemed like a fairly regular guy trying to score a little weed. How does a mistake like that slide by? Jeez. I don't know, mate. It was fucked up though. Everyone in the year group figured he was autistic or something, and he even hung out with the autistic kids. When I saw him maybe a year after we finished school, it was like a completely different person. You could see that he was still a little buggered though. Probably from being on the wrong meds for so long. He murdered his own mom a bit before graduation. He got sentenced 20 to life. And is now in jail. It turns out he had an undiagnosed genetic disorder and had a stroke at the age of 20. Some people just get the shitty end of the stick. For real. This kid I knew in school wasn't super weird. But definitely an outcast. He was 16/17 and was a junior when I was a freshman. He sat with a bunch of us at lunch and we mostly poked fun at him because he was just so ridiculous sometimes. He was a chubby cherub-faced not so bright orphan. He died the summer after graduating to an undiagnosed brain tumor. Talk about being dealt a shitty hand. The kid who went around piecing inside computers and musical instruments? From what I've seen on Facebook. He's now the trashiest piece of trailer trash I've ever seen. Edit. This kid would walk the empty hallways during class time looking for empty rooms. He'd rip open CD-ROM drives and PSS inside them. I don't know if he unplugged them first. On more than one occasion he snuck into the band room and PS'd on instruments. During one Christmas assembly where band played Christmas songs, he stood up and yelled that he had PS'd inside this one kid's trumpet. One time he snuck into the guy's locker room and PS'd on everyone's stuff through the grates of the lockers. He got in quite a bit of trouble for that one, I remember. This kid had some sort of personality disorder. And all his classes were in the rubber room. A nickname for the classroom for the low IQs and really bad troublemakers. I never had a class with him because of this. But I saw him plenty during lunch. He was a smaller kid. And saw plenty of people harass the fuck out of him. His true and only passion in life was to PSS on things. The weird trenchcoat kid jumped off a bridge a few years later but lived. Broke 100 bones or so I heard. Not sure what happened to him since then. Turns out he had Asperger's. Which, in hindsight, was really obvious. He now works at a pizza joint and is married. He's doing just fine and has a family now. I met him years later and he said the reason he acted out was he was abused by his foster parents. Makes perfect sense now. And I'm glad he is doing well. This is why I've forgiven everyone I didn't know much about. You just never know what a person's own life is and what their past has been. I was that weird kid. I also had a drug addict mother at home and a father that killed himself. The shitty wasn't even a secret. My mom used to shove her tongue down my throat and flash her boobs at parties. People acted like it didn't even make a difference. Meanwhile, I'm being drugged. Sometimes 15 pills a day because of all my mental issues. Miraculously I'm a pretty well adjusted 31 years old. Mother of 3. Middle class. No drugs. No mental issues. Still weirdo. Mostly by reputation but also because I'm pretty comfortable being myself. Rainbow makeup. Goofy hats. Plastic jewelry. Quick to throw a kid's party. Or strap on a pair of skates at the roller skate place. Whatever. I like me. Dude named Cameron in my class. When I was in school with him, he and I always got along fine but he had some pretty weird things going on. He would flat out stare at girls and readjusted his pants a little more conspicuously than was necessary. He dropped out of school senior year because people were making fun of him and he has suicidal thoughts. A few weeks ago I saw him at a restaurant in town with another girl from the class behind us. He had lost a ton of weight and was wearing contacts instead of ridiculously thick glasses. Had a pretty sweet beard and a nice haircut and outfit. I almost didn't recognize him but he said hello to me and it clicked when I heard his kinda honky voice. We talked for a minute or so and I asked him if he wanted to go get a beer sometime so we could catch up on old times. His mother died of a heart attack and his sister committed suicide, so he decided that he was gonna get better. He started going to the gym and got an associate's at the local college. He started working at the bank and became a loan officer and seems to be making good money doing it. He really turned his life around. One is a neo-pagan that worships Odin and is a cook at a German restaurant in our hometown. He's also a Civil War reenactor on the Confederate side. Another started a Christian goth club at our high school. Created a similar one at college. Then died in a motorcycle accident. He masturbated in the bathroom. Came back to class and wiped his load all over the school bully. Bully beat him up and got expelled. The weird kid needed help of some kind and switched to special ed classes. We honor his bravery. Edit. Wow, this blew up. His name is Seth and he graduated same year as me. He had broken ribs and permanent hearing issues after the beating. This all happened in 4th period study hall my sophomore high school year. The bully liked to bring and brag about things he stole from unlocked cars in his free time. I'm sure he got much more than expelled. He now plays the bagpipes in full Scottish outfit as a Belgian. That's still pretty weird, I think, and really annoying when you live in a small village like ours. Damn, I hate that sound. He was one of these kids that you might mistake for special ed at first glance. Very awkward presence. Bit of a loner. Runs through halls like an anime character. It's not until you talk to him that you realize that this guy is actually off the charts intelligent. He basically stuck to his routine until graduation, after which he spent his college years traveling through Europe, becoming a worldly and distinguished individual, picking up a hot German girlfriend along the way, and eventually securing a job at NASA. Yeah. Jokes on the rest of us. I was friends with him because he liked DBZ and we used to talk about it loads, but he always used to shout ouch T in the middle of class, like when he was getting yelled at he'd laugh and say things like, "You really think you can defeat me?" Yeah. Was cringy as hell, but I laughed loads and he ran around doing fucking Naruto hand signs. It was funny-ish T. Turns out he killed himself. Open bracket. Suicide no jutsu. I was a weird kid in elementary and much of high school. Because of where I lived, I never saw anyone outside of the school and played video games all day every day. By the time I was halfway through high school I had friends, sure, but my social skills were so underdeveloped I had erratic behavior that pushed people away. This behavior haunted me until I was in the very early 20s. He ended up rather successful. Actually. Took a high-level executive job at an insurance company. He's been pretty successful in about everything but romance. Poor dude has had his heart broken twice. I still go and hang out with him every once in a while. Nice guy. Wish I had talked to him more in high school. It was probably me. I was a painfully nerdy girl, one of those kids with no social skills, so is obsessed with pleasing the adults and is terrified of everything all the time. Especially getting told off. Bad haircut. Second-hand clothes. No confidence. No social skills. Makes herself an easy target for being picked on. I got really bitter and defensive as high school went on because of the sheer extent of the bullying. I got outed as gay and that only made everything worse. Went pretty nuts. Cutting on myself and writing meaningful lyrics on my bag. Stalked around being a tubbly little loner a lot of the time. I'm 32 now. I got 100% better once I left my hometown and went to uni. Took me a long time to sort myself out, but being away from my toxic family and the endless bullying and harassment at school let me heal and become the funny, kind person that I always wanted to be. Oh, and I figured out at 29 that I'm trans, so I'm not a girl anymore. So the weird, awkward girl is now a short, happy guy who never speaks to anyone from school. Ever. One of the weird kids turned out to be a reasonably successful Dota HS streamer. Editorino. He joined school midterm and since day one some bullies started stealing his stuff, beating him and all that crap. He left school like a week after he joined. People said he left because he brought his hamster to school and bully numero uno threw it off the window. It was the last time I saw the bully as well. I think he got expelled. I don't wanna say who it is. I think he tried hard to forget all that shit and I don't wanna remind him of it. Editorino Reloaded. Besides streaming, it seems he graduated in psychology and has a GF now, so I'm glad things got better. She hung herself before the age of 30. It makes me sad that most of her life was spent trying to fight an uphill battle against depression, her own insecurities, and then a bunch of kids who were too young and stupid to understand her or even make an effort. Apparently she had a fight with her boyfriend and went upstairs. He didn't hear anything and went up to check on her an hour later. He had stopped taking her meds a few weeks prior. I can't imagine how awful he must have felt that the last words he said to her were in anger. I had class with this girl in 5th grade who was a complete mess. Really. She was such a slob. My teacher gave her a special desk with 3 walls to contain all her trash. And she wasn't very hygienic either. Turns out, she's a super SI dancer that lives in Denver now. Talk about a 180. There were several of them in my school and they all hung out together. I just know what happened to 2 of them. They're both still weird. But one is doing much better than the other one. One is studying to become a paramedic. And I think he will be absolutely phenomenal at it. He may be a bit eccentric and I honestly don't like him much. But hot damn, he has the personality for it. The other one goes to my university. She's the one who wears onsies with a hood and is around campus. Wears a supernatural backpack with anime and cartoon keychains. Spends her day drawing, writing supernatural porn. She has shown me. Shudder. She actually got in trouble for writing a supernatural erotica for a class assignment. Then reading it to the class. In a way I feel bad for her because she just desperately wants to be liked. But I honestly don't think she'll go very far in her life. I was the weird kid. In high school I'd creepily follow girls. Pine over women that I know are out of my league. Always tag along with friends who never wanted me there. And made any situation awkward as fuck. After high school I joined the Navy. Deployed. Became socially normal. Got a job working in banking which led to sales, then to management. Now 8 years out of high school I have a beautiful family making over 65k plus bonus. My high school bully can suck my ass. I went to a Tony private girls school from kindergarten through 12th grade. A classmate I'd had since kindergarten was asked to leave after 6th grade because she just stopped doing her homework. Ever. She just drew all day long in her notebooks. After she left, none of my classmates kept in touch with her. Looking back, I would have described her as having a rich interior life. But about a year ago, someone with her name showed up as someone I might know on Instagram. I looked through her feed and it turned out it was the same person. She's now a talented, successful visual artist who went to art school, got her MFA, and shows her work in galleries in New York and LA. She's so fucking cool now. I want to be friends with her, but I think too much time has gone by for me to rekindle that relationship. I'm late to the party. But here goes. He stabbed my mom in a McDonald's drive-thru. It was completely random. And he isn't mentally well. She's fine. But she'll have a nasty scar. He's still in a mental hospital. And will be there for a long time. 8th grade. He didn't wash his hair very often and my classmates thought less of him for being an atheist. But I was nice to him and we became friends. He was cool. We lost touch in high school. But reconnected, thanks to Facebook, when I was in college. He was working as a medic for the army. With dreams of going to medical school. He passed away after he sustained a closed head injury on a deployment to Afghanistan. I found out through Facebook. So, weird as in really smart and awkward weird? Or everyone just feels uncomfortable and gets weird vibes around him weird? If it's the smart version, he is a senior scientist for NASA. If it's weird vibes guy, last I heard is he became a rabid white supremacist and dropped off the face of the earth. What's funny is when I was in high school we had a kid who was pure German. Super blonde hair, blue eyes, and was raised by a white supremacist and was really white supremacist himself. I even went to his house one time and they had local Nazi organization materials laying around. When he graduated, he joined the army and was stationed in Germany, where he then made a complete change and went the complete opposite direction. Dated a black girl, etc. There was this one kid who was quite weird. I think he had autism, was really intelligent, because after the sophomore year of high school he transferred to one of those smart kid schools. But my favorite story of this kid was one day during lunch. We were just chilling outside the activities office, which was a big hangout spot for my kind of people. He and I are chatting and he pulls out this small screwdriver and starts flipping it in his hand. Whatever, the kid was weird. I knew he wouldn't do anything malicious with it. It was just a toy. Anyway, the vice dean walks by, sees it, and confiscates it from him. He apologizes and the dean leaves. He then pulls out another screwdriver and starts flipping it. Another story from this guy was, he told me the greatest way to kill yourself would be to go to the top of a very tall building. Tie a noose around your neck with a length of rope just right to achieve the result. Apex your hands to your head and jump. If the rope is the right length, it will rip your head off, and when your body lands it will look like you pulled off your head.